Hi everyone. So today we're going to talk income tax. I'm going to tell you a funny story. When I first got this job, I was so excited. It was my first job. I was going to be making, a salary. A salary being that you have a guaranteed income for the whole year, right? Regardless of how much you work, whether I'm putting in 30-hour weeks or 55-hour weeks. But it was consistent income, a consistent paycheck. It wasn't going to change every week, makes budgeting super easy. Now, when I saw in my contract how much I was going to be making, it was more than I was obviously making at Wegmans, stocking their dairy. So I was excited. So I started creating an Excel spreadsheet of where I was going to spend my money. You know, what was going to go towards gas, what was going to go towards being able to have things like Netflix and Hulu, what was going to go towards food, etc., etc. And when I finished, I found out that I had a lot of extra money, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, I'll be able to save this or go on a trip. What am I? I don't even know what I'm gonna do." Um, but I was so caught up in the hype that I realized once I got my first paycheck that I didn't even take out my taxes, my income taxes. So you can imagine where all that money went. I did not go on the trip that I was thinking I would. So you have to pay the federal government, and in New York State, you also have to pay the state government, right? So, what we're going to talk about today is how to come up with those calculations because a lot of people don't really understand it. Um, so, in our example today, we're going to work with $42,000. Okay. You're going to get a chance to do this with the salary that you find in your student loan for your student loan project. So this will be a really good resource for you once you start that project as well. So please come back. All right. So what I have on the screen right now is the federal income tax bracket. Now these are from 2018. I just checked 2019 and they did change a little bit, but it's not worth it for me to change literally everything in your homeworks, et cetera, et cetera. And they only shifted by about $300. So it was not worth it. So these are 2018. I am going to post the brackets. Okay. I will post a Word document with these brackets in there, but I just wanted to have you see them in front of you. Now, obviously they change based on if you're married, et cetera, et cetera. So we're just going to do one for someone who is single. All right. So for our federal taxes, there's the 10% bracket, 12%, 22, and so on, right? And you can see what your income has to be to fall into that tax bracket. So making $42,000 a year, we would fall in this 22% tax bracket, okay? Which means I need to add a 22% here that I did not add. So let me update that. Margin center. Let's make it gray, 22%. Okay, I should have had that up there. My bad. So that doesn't mean that all of our money, that 42,000, gets taxed 22%, right? If we did that, let me pull my calculator into the screen. If we had 42,000 times 0.22, that means we would be paying $9,240 in taxes. It's not too far off, but it is off, right? So it's actually a little bit high. How this works is, look at the bracket. So $0. So from $0 to $9,525. This 10% bracket, that's the first $9,525 you make will be taxed 10%. Okay. Then from that $9,525 all the way to the $38,700. 38,700. Okay. That's being taxed 12%. That's this orange region. Okay. Now we're making 42,000, so we're going to make even more than that. So from that $38,700 all the way to what we make, which is we make 42,000. That's going to be taxed 22%. So we just need to look at all of these little intervals. So from this range right here, $0 to $9,525, basically we want to subtract those. So when we subtract them, you get 9,525, right? This is getting taxed 10%. So we are going to multiply this by 10%. I'm going to do it in Excel, but feel free to do it in your calculator if you want. So I'm going to use equals to turn Excel into a calculator. 9,525 times 10% is 0.10 or 0.1. Enter. Okay, so I'm going to put these numbers in red because this is actually what we're going to pay in taxes. All right, so the first 10% bracket is going to lead us to pay $952.50. Let's look at the orange. So the next bout of money from the $9,525 all the way to the $38,700, that money is going to be taxed 12%. So we need to subtract these two values. So 38,700 minus the 9,525. So I'm going to use Excel. So equals 38,700 minus 9,525. So that's 29,175 of our dollars fall into this range. And this is getting taxed 12%, right? So we're going to multiply this number, the 29,175, by 12%. So equals 29,175 times 12%. Enter. Whoa. Oh, I didn't have the decimal in. Let's try that again. Equals 29,175 times 0.12. That makes more sense. So I'm going to put that number in red. That's also how much we're going to pay in taxes. So as you're going to see, once we have our last number up here, we'll have three numbers that we're going to add together to get our taxes. All right. And remember, you can pause this and rewind it and rewatch it. That's the perk of YouTube. So the last bracket is, well, we make more than that 38,700. We creep into that 22% bracket, but not all of our money is getting taxed 22%. Just this little top portion, that 38,700 up to the $42,000. Okay. So how much is in that range? Well, let's subtract them. 42,000 minus 38,700. So that's only $3,300. That's the only amount that's getting taxed that really high percent, which is a good thing. It's good that our full 42 grand isn't being taxed that. Now let's find 22% of it. So equals 3,300 times 0.22. Remember to have your decimal there. $726. So if you add up all of these values, so equals, and you can use a calculator again, 726 plus 3,501. And you can click on these values already, but I felt like this would be good for visual. 952.50. Bam. That is our federal tax amount. So I'm going to come up here. This is just my organizational piece up in this upper left-hand corner. You have to create something similar for your budget, for your project. So I'm going to put this in here. 5,179.50, which is much better than that 9 grand that we talked about in the beginning. If we were actually taxed 22% on all of our income, that would have sucked, right? Not that this doesn't suck already, but the 5 grand. All right, so now let's take a look at the state income tax. Now the state income tax works the same exact way. It just has a different bracket. So let's scroll down. Here's the state income bracket. So the $0 to the $8,500 is 4%. The $8,500 to the $11,700 is 4.5%, and so on, right? So we actually fall in this 6.45 range. because we make over $21,400, but we don't quite make 80 grand, right? That's a really big group. So let's nail this out here. So $0. This is going to be a push for time. $1,500. So subtract these. 8,500 minus 0. It's going to give you 8,500, and that's being taxed 4%. So equals 8,500 times 0.04. Make sure that I have that 0 there. I'll put it in red. Now we have that $8,500, and that goes up to the next range, which is 11,700, right? So 11,700. And I'm just doing all of this over here for visual purposes, by the way, guys. You don't need to do that, but so our next range is 8,500 to 11,700. So we got to use subtraction, figure out how much money is going into that bucket, right? So $3,200, and that's getting taxed 4.5%. So 3,200 times 0.045 is 4.5% in decimal form. Put it in red. There's a lot more here, a lot more brackets. So the next bracket goes up to 13,900. So keep subtracting. So we have 11,700 to 13,900. So we subtract them. 2,200. So it's 2,200, and that's getting 0.0525. All right, so multiply those. Our next bracket is 21,400. So the 13,900 to the 21,400. Subtract to figure out how much money's there. A little bit more money there. So we have 7,500 of our dollars in that bucket, equals 7,500 times the tax rate of 5.9%. So it's 0.059. Put these in red. Now one more bracket. Now it's a little bit goofy. You don't put the 80 grand up here because you don't make 80 grand, right? So we're not getting taxed on that. So you put your amount up top, and you subtract what you make with the last number you had. So the 21,400 all the way to the 42 grand that you make. So equals 42,000 minus 21,400. So that's the bulk of your money. That's $20,600, right? And this gets taxed times 6.45%, so 0.0645. Put it in red. And that is all of our money. So all of these red numbers are how much we're being taxed. So again, let's total them up. This time, I'm just going to click on the values to show you another way to do this. This plus this plus this plus this plus this. Then enter. So $2,370.70. So $2,370.70. So I'll scroll back down just so you can see it. That's how much we're paying the state. All right. So they both follow the same exact process, but their brackets are a little bit different. I'll bold this one for consistency. You might have to watch these videos a couple times. It's not hard math, but there's a lot of steps involved. Oh, I don't like that. So definitely don't hesitate to rewatch these. So lastly, our annual salary after taxes is we have to take the 42,000, and you can do this in your calculator if you want, and subtract out our taxes. So I'm going to use the reference cells by clicking on them. You could type them in. Actually, I might type them in just for ease of you guys seeing this. 5178.50 minus the state tax, which is 2370.70. Enter. This is actually how much we have to budget with. So we should not be budgeting with the 42 grand. We should be budgeting with $34,450 because that's all we're going to see, guys. That's why this is really important for you to understand. If you need anything, rewatch this and then reach out to me, okay?